The protests that had been called to push for reforms in governance turned violent. The protests, which initially started off as a push to have the government do away with the Finance Bill 2024, had seen thousands of youthful Kenyans take to the streets to protest. But as Brenda Wanga reports, the face of the protest has been changing, with claims of infiltration by hired goons to disrupt, loot, and plunder. And the impact was soon seen on the streets both in and out of Nairobi.
I came out of my house, coming here, knowing I'm coming to protest, like my fellow youth who are protesting. Now things have turned. Ask me why.
Why?
The goods have been sent everywhere, stealing from people, snatching people's phones, and we are here to deal with them.
Okay.
Deal with them first, then we'll continue with our protest later.
So kufika hapa, wale criminals venye Ruto alikuwa anawaita, tunawapata pale kama wanavunja hiyo the flames hii chicken. So wamevunja wakaingia.
Some of the online personalities who have been associated with the Occupy protests are distancing the Gen Zs from the actions that have accompanied the demonstrations across parts of the country. Boniface Mwangi, on an X post, accused the government of letting goons take over the protests and loot and destroy property. Osama also terms those in the streets today as goons, urging people to go home. The protests, when they started mid-last month, was spearheaded by the youthful Generation Z. The protests were planned and organized online and saw the youth turn up in their multitudes, dressed in a somewhat uniform manner, with the intentions and goals clearly spelled out quite literally and expressed verbally. They were also guided by a code that prohibited the use of violence, destruction of property, and even had guidelines on where to go for legal and medical help during the protests. However, the organized protests have been slowly changing with each passing protest day. Now the placard-carrying youth are slowly getting replaced by other groups whose actions seem to be at odds with the Occupy movement. Some of the new faces in the crowds caught armed in the midst of the protesters in Nairobi and as far out as Mombasa. In the CBD Nairobi, business owners say they were forced to guard their businesses against those who have infiltrated the protests with the intent to loot and destroy. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights flagged this changing face and character of the protests as early as Wednesday last week.
The protests were infiltrated by people other than those who had intended to protest, as indicated. We also noted